Ladies and gentlemen, how you all doing? This is Con Orc bringing you another episode of Company of Heroes 2 Fight Night. I have chosen this particular game to support another member of the Company of Heroes community. This is Tightrope over here, playing the OKW forces. Tightrope runs his own particular channel, also doing casting. If you want to check out some other games that I don't do, he definitely is a man to check out. He definitely has a very, very different style than I do, I have to admit. Want to give him a little bit of props. He's a long contributing member to the community. Over here in the west, we have Janus the Man playing the United States forces. Now, and the map itself is Escalating, so, you do know that there's a center garrison here to the west, and the church to the east, and Janus the Man is saying, is it real? And I'm guessing it is going to be real, because when does the internet lie? And there's Tightrope laconically, as he always does, responding. So congratulations to Janus the Man for playing with a kind of community celebrity. In the meantime, though, while both sides are actually getting themselves geared up and ready for war, Tightrope is bringing along Fourier Storm, as well as Scavenge Doctrine and Fortifications Doctrine. I don't often, like I said before, another point, I think I've seen this one time. And Janus the Man's right now fanboying into the game, and come on, Janus, let's just play it up, dude. Janus the Man, in the meantime, is bringing along Heavy Cavalry Company for the Rangers and the Pershing, Armor Company for the M10 and the Bulldozer, and the Recon Support Company, which is not something you see tons of time, all over the place, but you occasionally do see it. Both sides very much opening up, and I kind of wish the, force compositions were reversed up here in the north. Something backwards the entire time here. We already noticed that Tightrope is very, very quickly trying to expand down to his fuel. He already picked it up with his Kubelwagen, and he's now engaging two rifleman squads. They're both sitting in negative cover, so although the thing is definitely outgunned for a short bit, he is able to put out a fair amount of damage to the riflemen that just don't have a means of recovering that HP right now. That is not to say, though, that they aren't going to go down and try to pressure this fuel point, which is exactly what needs to be done. And my guess is we're going to see these Volksgrens hold on for just until the absolute last second. Then maybe, just maybe, they'll charge forwards and try to pick things up. With these Strempios on hand as well, we might even see a dive in from these MP40 armed troops. And there we go, getting up close and personal. It's like, hey pal, how you doing? And you see those rounds coming in, just sparking off, taking out riflemen. And those GIs are just saying, yo, bro, tell my mother I love her, and where's my insurance? And so very, very early on, Janus the Man is taking a lot of losses from Tightrope, almost dropping two full squads in the first place, and very much losing all the fuel that he had just gained access to. It does look like he might be able to turn things around here in the north, however. The rear echelons and these and these riflemen outflanking these Volksgrens rather severely. And yes, they are forced away. But, you gotta hand it to Tightrope. He is definitely going along, and every single time his opponent gains himself an advantage, he is right there to kind of just, rain on his parade. Heavily wounding those riflemen. He is going to take some very, very heavy damage on this Kubelwagen over here. But again, one squad moves out, another one rotates right back in. So as soon as these riflemen back out, I'm sure these Volksgrens are going to sign right up here to the north, or swing around to cut them off again in the south. To prevent that from happening, however, though, Janus has decided to call in a BAR lieutenant. And since he is holding the northern VP right now, no one's actually holding the center, which I think is a massive mistake from both sides, because you really should be able to pick that up. We're going to see it's a 1-to-1 cap right now, 481 to 500, in favor of the American player. Excuse me, guys, I don't know how much of that you just missed. Let me just repeat what I just said. We are going to finally see these riflemen take out the center part of the field, as Tightrope calls in an SWS over here to the east. And we see very much a departure from what we usually see on this map, with these riflemen holding down, actually rear echelons even, holding down this house, this church, rather easily. And Tightrope's troops are pretty much left out in the cold. And that coldness is going to continue down here. He's probably actually going to even drop. No, those Strempios decide to go the correct way and flee back to safety, and manage to do so without going past too many hostile attention spans. With the new SWS coming out, the question really becomes, will that turn to a battle group headquarters for a very, very quick set of medics? Or will that be a mechanized regiment headquarters? seeing that mortar crew on the field, as well as knowing all this heavy amount of rifleman investment, I might suggest at this point going for a mechanized regiment, and that is in fact what he's going to go for. Try to get out of that Panzer II pretty quickly. And considering how heavily outgunned he is, yikes, there goes the Kubelwagen. And now the BAR, the rifleman squads like crazy, and these Volkskrans are just going to start taking hits, like it's just raining down on them. And I mean, when it's raining right now, it is pouring. A little bit of a brightness though, we are going to see these mortar crew kind of caught out in the open by these Volkskrans and just fleeing right down the center of the field, creating very much a turkey shoot for negative attention. Rifleman, in the meantime, trying to distract those Volkskrans, hunkering up the other side of this truck, and it becomes a very awkward fight back and forth. But the Volkskrans get the better of it from the beginning. And dear God, this just happens over and over again. These Volkskrans now again sitting here and just putting more firepower out onto the lieutenant. But eventually they just cannot deal with the fact they're getting shelled by mortars, fired on by the riflemen, and just taking firepower from those rear echelons in the house. I won't say he's looking to double down right about now, but Janus the Man is going for an AA half-track, looking to maintain that infantry domination. Be quite the rude awakening if tightrope ever does get out of that Panzer II. But considering some of the way some of his troops are right now, we might even see a drop coming out here. BARs are pretty darn nasty on retreat, and retreating past those rear echelons still might be enough. Firepower, going through deep snow. Jumps in and out, and they do pick up that rifleman's that Volk squad, chopping tightrope down to just 4 squads as addition to Janus's vehicle advantage right now. Even more concerning is the fact that tightrope is cut off from his fuel, so that life-giving fuel, that thing that's going to help him get back into this game, is now completely gone. And ladies and gentlemen, if you do want to look, that Panzer II is still going to cost him another 6 or 7 fuel. So easily another 45-50 seconds before it even can be ordered, let alone coming out in the field to gain some more battlefield efficacy. Now, we cannot forget, though, that despite controlling the game, Janus the Man is still not having a stranglehold necessarily. We do see tightrope regain control of his fuel, and thus we are going to see a Panzer II getting ordered, I'm guessing, in the next 10 or 15 seconds. There it is as well. So coming up in 8 minutes into this game, 468 to 446. And surprisingly enough, it is the Germans who are controlling the tempo of this game. Janus the Man, yes, definitely had his mitts on the steering wheel, but he did not end up really grabbing hold. Taking a look at the strategic part of the map. We are going to see that very frustrating decaps coming out again, so that Panzer II is going to be the last thing he gets for quite a while in terms of fuel interaction. Though these Volkskrans in the south, we do see every single squad of tightrope's Volkskrans are armed with the STG-44s, giving them a fair amount of firepower at medium range. Unfortunately for them, that's where the riflemen excel. Those M1 Garands, the M1A1s, and adding in all the little bulletins from Janus the Man, cooling faster, increased accuracy, and reloading faster. It doesn't necessarily have a lot of immediate firepower difference. This AA half-track, yes, this Panzer II is taking a fair amount of hits, but this AA half-track is probably going to go down. Main gun's been hit. It is just going on in circles right about now, and it does go down. The Panzer II very much quickly paying for itself as soon as it gets onto the field. And Janus the Man is now without an answer immediately to the Panzer II. But hey, he controls 2 VPs right now, man. 439 to 460. He is behind just a tiny bit, but by the time that tightrope really gets back out into the field, he's turning off another 10 or 15 VPs. And we should note, by the way, you realize at this point I already know, but his armored company has been selected for Janus the Man. So the 105 Bulldozer Sherman could be kind of interesting, but even more so, might see that M10 come out rather soon. But very cheap, all things considered. Oh no, wow, and tightrope has actually decided to go for fortifications doctrine, so maybe even seeing a Pack 43 or 2 coming out for tightrope, looking to just control these kind of like fire lanes through the various cover positions, the 4 that you do see. Heading a little more to the east, we are going to see that the mortar is not going to be able to stave off this very massive German assault. And we are seeing a threatening move by German forces to take back the middle VP. The question is whether or not this mortar can get away before it actually gets picked up, and it looks like it's going to be able to do so. Now, Tightrope has definitely got himself back into this. I'm kind of wondering why Janus the Man hasn't decided to go for that captain, or even taking up for the battalion with the major. The major, obviously, as we do know, is too expensive at this point. That captain shouldn't be too expensive, is it? No, it is not. In fact, he's very, very, very easily brought in. I think it's a massive waste to not be doing so right about now. But instead, Janus the Man is going to go for a 50 cal machine gun. Maybe he just plops that down in the middle part of the field. Yeah, that might be enough to kind of see guys away. But with this Panzer II on the field, he really still has no answer to it. Yes, blah, 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 blah. There are a couple of bazookas on the field, but hey, you know what? That is not going to be enough to face down the Panzer II and the Volksgrens. With a 2-to-1 cap now going back in for this Volksgrens, it is now a tie game in terms of tickets. Very quickly going to turn into a German advantage ever so slowly. And there's that 50 cal in the middle of the field to kind of control that intersection, and the mortar right behind it. But Tightrope is also actually deciding to go for a Rakettenwerfer and an MG34. So maybe trying to slide his own MG34 into this church to control the intersection, at least for a bit of time until this church does get taken down. Panzer II in the meantime does notice a difference in those rifleman squads. Yes, it is going to scratch his paint, but right now, those Strempiles, if they don't get picked up by that grenade, oh yeah, yeah, we see corpses on both sides just suddenly litter the ground. STGs and that Panzer II popping up, taking out almost everybody in that squad. And now all of the anti-tank that's been on the field is forced to retreat, and it's going to take quite a while until it reheals and repairs it, reinforces itself back into fighting trim. Now, these guys have the anti-tank grenades? No, they do not. Instead, the anti-tank grenade, he's dependent just strictly on those bazookas. But, of course, Tightrope doesn't quite know that. And with his control over here in the north, he may not have to worry so much, at least for the immediate future. Captain being called out yet? Still no captain. Instead, we are going to see these STGs forced away by the BAR. Now, I'm not 100% sure myself, but I cannot recall, do STGs actually, in a one-on-one fight, all things being equal, with the BAR, do they win? I don't know. If anyone wants to kind of answer me that riddle, feel free to let me know in the comments below. Forgive me, people, for putting up that strategic map just for a second. I need to wet my whistle. And in the meantime, that mortar just continues to fire down to the south, which is not, you know, a bad idea. Just that you could have a more intelligent decision, let's say. And M10, as soon as it is able to be called onto the field, it does get called in. Which is not a bad idea necessarily. It's going to be more than enough to force away that Panzer II. Though the Panzer II in the meantime is going to probably be able to maybe even pick off this squad. It is super, super low. Is he going to be able to chase it into that M10? M10 is moving to the north. M10 is moving to the north. Rifleman falling back, taking damage. M10 announces itself with a missed shot. But these riflemen do make it out with a tiny bit of health left. Panzer II tries to stumble its way back to the main part of this field here. Back to the road, takes more hits. Panzerfaust at all? Ladies and germs, Panzerfaust? Yes, no, maybe? No. Instead, the Panzer II does go down. And that M10 is now dominating the field instead. Kind of a surprise. You would think that the Panzer II would have been a little bit more just kind of like, oh, okay, well, you're right there. I'm just going to dive as quick as possible. And I kind of wonder about that, actually. Maybe I want to test that a little bit. If a enemy tank destroyer is coming out towards you and you're facing the other direction, why try to reverse back? You might as well just go dive as deep as possible and run around the opposite direction. Meantime, this MG34, which has just been hosing down all these riflemen, does take a very, very nasty grenade. It might even get picked up on retreat. No, it doesn't. Never mind, these riflemen focusing on these Sturmpiles instead. These two-star guys, kind of like, hey, bro, no need to be so, no need to like have a cow. You gotta just like chill, relax, have a mocha. But the riflemen don't seem ready to do that. The only time they kind of cool off is when they're dead and just kind of like, you know, losing the steam from the body heat. And a very, very late ambo coming out for Janus the Man. He could have definitely afforded that a long time ago. Instead seems to be preferring a much more passive game, or maybe just repairing his troops a little more often. Meantime, though, we're going to see the second Mercatton coming up for tightrope. One shot did take that thing down almost to about half health. And oh, good lord, that mortar is now in the middle of the field. Where is that machine gun of his? Up to the north? No, it is in the church, even more disturbing. The second that thing reveals itself, that Mercatton reveals itself, that is just going to have a field day. But in the meantime, we do see this rifleman squad does drop down here with a bazooka. And a very, very nasty set of hits on this other rifleman squad up here to the north, running into an S minefield and buying the farm quite a bit.
Stick with me and you might just make it.
But hey, Janus the Man is pretty happy right now. He is 405 to 403, 16-16 into this game. And he's got things pretty well locked down. A little hard to say that tightrope's going to be back into this anytime soon. Not that he won't be able to, because the guy definitely has a head for the game. If you've watched his videos, you know what I'm talking about. But it looks like he might have to work the angles a lot more to guarantee that. Now, the problem for tightrope at this point is that he really doesn't have a very, very steady fuel supply. He has 16 coming in right about now. But is that going to be enough for him to call in that Schwerpanzer headquarters? With picking up another set of fuel on the map, it is a very, very definite possibility he'd be able to do that in the next couple of minutes. But even then, he won't be able to take any kind of advantage from it other than that static 3-centimeter anti-tank gun. The anti-aircraft gun, rather. Rear echelon squad here in the north, taking a lot of firepower from... Never mind, I thought they had this. Never mind indeed, I thought that rear echelon squad was going to go down, but it appears I was incorrect at that one, ladies and gentlemen. I do beg your forgiveness most humbly. And even though those riflemen are pretty nasty up close, it doesn't do you any good if you get outflanked. STG, Volksgrenadiers. Say Volksgrens, and I just completely thought better of it for some reason. Might be able to pick up these riflemen. Do they manage to do so? No, they don't. Instead, we're going to see this howitzer Sherman come down. Which is never really a vehicle I necessarily understood too well. It can be so excellent, or it can be just not worth the thing that, it's awful. It can be amazing, or it can just be death. And, death against you in a very, very negative, pejorative sense. Meantime, we are going to see that tightrope has decided to call in that final Schwerpanzer headquarters. And a little bit disturbing right now. We see these Rakettenwerfers are kind of creeping in a little bit, but nope, never mind. This BAR squad does force them away. As Janus the Man does decide to go down and pick up this southern VP. 356 to 403. He already controls one of them right now. He's going to pick up a second one in about 3, 2, 1. There we go. So it's 2-0 right now. And there's open VP in the north. Kind of wondering why there's nobody up there to go after it. And my question answers itself. With this fighting position up here to the north, it's a little bit difficult for the Germans to get to it unless they swing around way to the south and take out the point, that particular point. And the Americans apparently just can't be bothered to go up north. Most of their infantry really being kind of more of a static defensive posture. But alrighty, both squads in the meantime, both sides have decided to kind of take it easy, take a quick coffee break. I continue to love this particular cinematic as these guys kind of set everything up. Okay, I'm going to move this fuel tank around. Don't mind me, boys. I'll be right back. And just any second now getting up into that gun position. Unfortunately, we probably should pay attention over here, shouldn't we? Rakettenwerfer does notice itself, hey guys, we have some company over here, and these Sturmpios might just barely be enough to take out. Oh, never mind. Oh, he makes it away just barely. Just barely, and that's not what you want to lose right now. You don't want to lose a squad like that. And we've also seen in the north, we see these SDGs trying desperately to take on, first of all, this. Oh my gosh, they might be able to pick up. Oh no, the ammo might get away with a damaged engine.
A capture point is under attack.
Gettenwerfer's going to try to slide in. No, they're not. They're going to slide back to the north, trying to pick on either the M10
Enemy forces now have 300 points remaining.
or this Sherman by quite a bit. Unfortunately for the Germans, this would totally be in range if he was just a little bit more kind of well-sighted. Like, I'm not going to say, you know, that he's not necessarily badly sighted, just he could be sighted more appropriately. Meantime, though, this Sherman, bulldozer Sherman is going to put some hurt onto these Volksgrens, but this one more volley from this Raketenwerfers might be enough to, if not kill it, then severely, severely wound it. And effective firepower does continue to come down on these troops. Oh my gosh, the ambush should be dead to rights. Raketenwerfer does line up a shot. Another one drops short. That thing has a charmed life. It has absolutely no engines working for it right about now. And this mortar squad is just laying up this effective mask of covering fire.
One of our capture points.
And yeah, with it being that close, there's going to be almost no scatter on those guys, so it's probably a good thing for them to back away. Whew. Whew, indeed. So, kind of quite a while until we get that Jagdpanzer out, but I'm kind of thinking about which one of these three I would go for initially. Getting the Jagdpanzer out might be a great idea, actually, at this point. And not only can take on that Sherman bulldozer rather easily, and yikes, there's a massive infantry fight going on in the middle. A very, very wasted grenade comes out, and a firing squad lines itself up in the middle, takes out the other bazooka-armed squad, and Janus the Man is now really down to just one squad of infantry. Rear echelons are just gonna get wrecked if they continue being any kind of means of aggressive. And he's floating so much manpower right about now, I just cannot understand why he's floating that much manpower. To me, he should be calling like 3 squads of riflemen right about now. As you see how shallow his bench is. And that mortar crew is, surprisingly enough, not going to go down. And indeed, we even going to see a third Raketenwerfer coming out. There again is that, maybe did they buff that Sherman recently? I kind of feel like they must have, because I think it's just been wrecking face at the moment. Hustling back and forth. But just barely, yep, does get decrewed. So what is left? These Volksgrens are not going to be able to take this guy out by himself. And they're forced to back away. Oh, but they go down, so a 4-star squad does get picked off. And this heavy machine gun over here might need to back up before it gets taken away. And this Raketenwerfer is just decrewed like crazy. So, unfortunate for the Germans, but that infantry advantage is still theirs. Unfortunately for them, the armored vehicles are just swimming over on the American side of things. Not another M10, another Sherman has been called in. I suppose it's a little bit understandable. If we're going to see any kind of Panzerfaust coming out, it might be a good idea. Or Pack 43, or anything really. But for the time being, Raketenwerfer instead is going to get picked on. This MG is going to get picked on, probably going to get picked up before it even backs away necessarily. Yep, and he gets dropped. So the middle part of this field is just a massive amount of support weapons all over the place. And there's finally the Jagdpanzer coming out. I'm not sure if you guys are happy about this or not. I didn't call it a Hetzer. Ah, yeah. Look at all these corpses. Just gun crew after gun crew just getting taken out. Meantime, though, this Schwerpanzer headquarters is trying to fight off this M10. And with the addition of this 105 howitzers and now the 247, oh my gosh, 240 millimeter, that's going to hurt quite a bit. Is this Panzer even going to get out? I have to know. There is a fair amount of scatter on this particular ability, so it's really kind of a crapshoot sometimes. We've got another 8 seconds. Oh wow, never mind, he's going to make it out. That'd be good for him. So tightrope is definitely not out of this game just yet, though he is getting picked on rather heavily. And here again, we just keep seeing it happening. Those Raketenwerfers try to pick themselves back up. And those 105s, all he really needs is one shot to take him back out. But while he's doing that, tightrope is just pressing his infantry advantage, spreading the field as much as possible. This Rakettenwerfer over here gets a shot off, but does get decrewed in the meantime. So I kind of wonder why Janus the Man is just not going to go and invest. Yowza. Just invest in getting rid of all the anti-tank guns. There's 3 of them out in the map. And right now his Sherman has got himself showing his heels to this Jagdpanzer, so that thing's just going to slide forwards and say, thank you so much, sir. May I give you another? And now you can see what those 105s don't do. They just don't handle armor very well.
Tank destroyer ready.
Ah, but now here's another M10 tank destroyer. And I don't know what happened to the last one. Oh, nothing happened to the last one. It's just getting repaired over here. So there is going to be a massive gangbang, unfortunately, on this poor Jagdpanzer. But at the same time, I do suspect we're going to see both these Rakettenwerfers getting picked back up and supporting the Jagdpanzer pretty much wherever it goes. So while the M10 can certainly beat on, what is the term I'm looking for? Can certainly beat on all of the Axis armor with the one of them that there is.
A capture point is being overrun.
Mortar gets dropped. There goes the death mortar. So the mortar now is dropped. So right now Janus only has 1 rear echelon squad. Count them. 1. And tightrope even picks up the mortar. Not sure I would necessarily would have invested in it at this point. He just drops 2 models instead. Just 3 models go down. And there's so much armor on this field that it's just kind of a shock to me. Why did you not pick up the Rakettenwerfers, my friend? So tightrope definitely not being the most intelligent bear he could have been. He is going to probably drop a Panzerfaust on this M10. And since the M10 is better used in a much more kind of mass capacity, we see a very, very swift death coming through. And there's finally triple rifleman coming out. But is that going to be enough? Again, this thing is just death incarnate from up front. But if you get behind it, that's one way to get rid of it. Now, unfortunately for the M10, by showing its heels to the 3cm gun, it's still going to be taking a fair amount of firepower. And by allowing a Panzerfaust to come out, it is also rather damaged. One more shot, but no, the Jagdpanzer goes down instead. So will this be it for the intrepid hero of tightrope? Another short bit of a cooldown. Might be able to pick this guy up. Was that 3 seconds? No seconds just left. Drops down another Panzerfaust, I imagine. Here it comes. No, where is it? There it comes. Here comes a Panzerfaust and destroys it. Does take it out. He does sacrifice his life in the meantime, but he does now have 2 Rakettenwerfers back out on this field. And maybe, just maybe, it might be a good idea to slide one of those guys inside this house. Maybe even both of them. But no, tightrope instead elects to be out in the open. Says, you know what, I have lived my entire life fighting out in the field, and I'm not going to retreat now behind these walls. And it turns out he might have been better served retreating behind some of those walls. Continue to just have all these guns out in the open. If the riflemen wanted to, they could just pick up like crazy amounts of support weapons, and tightrope would be completely screwed. I will say, the only thing really keeping tightrope in this game is the fact that there has been a much more aggressive infantry strategy followed. And that is really what's going to happen right now, is that Janus the Man is finally realizing he should have more infantry on the field. Now, he definitely could call in another Wolverine in just a second or two, but is it really worth it? I don't think it is. I think having his 2 105s and the 1 M10 he's got in the first place should be plenty enough. Yeah, we're going to see the Sturmpires down here bravely try to hold out against these 3 squads of riflemen, but it's not going to happen, even with 2 squads in negative cover. And we're going to see basically the numerical superiority enjoyed by Janus the Man just reassert itself further and further and further. Rear echelons moving forward, probably going to pick up at least some of the support weapons. Might be an excellent idea. No. Never mind. Mortar gets picked up. They're going to retreat as quickly as possible. Are they going to get picked up by that mortar? Yikes, and they get dropped as well. So that is just asking for death. We're getting to the meantime, I think it'd really be a good idea for them to just throw themselves into this house. They're not going to get taken out that quickly. And right now, they really are setting themselves up for failure. mechanics. It's starting to get a little hard to watch. 120 to 382, 30 minutes into this game. Tightrope is on the ropes, no pun intended. But he is not giving up. He's just hunkering down, saying, you know what? I don't care what it costs. I will win this day. And right now, looking actually at the M10 experience that's going on, and no one actually has been called in. Jagdpanzer says, yeah, bro, so what? You got a gun? I got a bigger one.
They're down to 100 points.
Unfortunately for it doesn't fire very well on the move, so he sacrifices any kind of accuracy he does have quite a bit whenever he shifts forwards. But one more shot will take out one of those Wolverines, and that might be just enough to really get guys back into this game. And just crazy amounts of Panzerfaust coming out, and this 105 instead just going to kind of try to settle over here and just wail on the back of this Jagdpanzer, which is a mistake. And there is going to go the first of these howitzer Shermans. That's one. Second one up here to the north, if he takes any kind of firepower whatsoever, and that's not going to pull it back instead. Never mind. With the M10 dying, though, this could be more than enough to see it done. Destroyed engine. So he's not quite dead, but, you know, nevertheless.
Tank was just lost.
Wondering why Tightrope is not being a little more intentional about taking back some of these points, my friends. He's got 50 tickets left, so he's really got about, you know,
They're down to 50
a minute at the absolute most.
Germans have 50 points left.
And a lot of his troops are back in base, hustling back out onto the field. As Jagdpanzer desperately is going to try to kind of do some weird, awkward crushing. I'm not sure if he's got the distance, though. Sturmpire is going around to the south. These riflemen over here back in base, just kind of chilling. And for some strange reason, no one's deigned to repair this port ambulance just yet. And indeed, we see these Rakettenwerfer just kind of chilling over here inside this garrison, saying, oh, you're not going to actually take care of that? Well, I'm going to take this point from you. And we could see a very, very tight squeeze made by Tightrope getting back into this game. The vehicle crew does go down, and the last guy really on the field is that 105 Sherman howitzer. Though there are tons and tons of bazookas on Janus the Man's troops, I think at this point it's kind of a little bit of an overreaction. It'd be just enough time for them to pick up these VPs? I don't know. It's awfully close. So yes, he's going to get one, he's going to get two, and the Americans are going to start taking losses pretty quickly here. Now, to kind of consolidate his victory, well, there's another M10 now on the field, as well as that 105. The Sturmpires really do need to repair this guy as well. My guess is the next armored vehicles to fall will determine the fate of this game. And with two Rakettenwerfers and that Jagdpanzer, any Allied armor that charges forwards is going to take hits rather severely. So you see right now, one of them is already kind of walking into a very, very deadly position. The 105 Sherman taking a fair amount of firepower, trying to pick off this last two guys in this squad and just failing to do so. Although in the meantime, lies in wait over here in the center part of the map, locking down that center intersection. Rakettenwerfer continues to slide forwards, sliding up just barely enough so that we can get one more good wallop in before perhaps having to retreat. Rear armor hit. They get another shot off before they get wailed on. Yes, they do, and the shot misses. Oh my gosh, it goes long, and there goes that 105 howitzer. That goes down. One of these two squads of bazooka armed troops are getting forced back, and now this 50 cal is now back in control for the Germans. And Tightrope might actually pull this one off. After getting beaten up for quite a good portion of this game, he might actually pull this one off. Jagdpanzer to the north has taken out that fighting position, and these Volksgrunts are going to come in to pick up the VP. And Janus the Man has kind of backed himself into a corner, unfortunately. He has allowed his own troops to be outnumbered time and again. And Floyd is just a ton of resources. He should have had this game a long time ago, I must admit. 35 minutes into the game, 9 to 352, but I feel like one good push is all it really needs for Janus to tap out. Oh my gosh, you can triple mortar. Yeah, he's desperate right now. He's going to randomly throwing out squash to see what's going to stick. Not entirely sure why he's rushing so much to do this. If you think about it, he's got quite a long time. You know, the Germans do have a fair amount of supply now back in their control. Triple mortars, for one, even though it's rather odd, will give you a fair amount of indirect firepower. And the bazookas will give you at least some mobile AT, if not consistent, over time. But okay, we are going to see the 50 cal proving its worth, suppressing the living bejesus out of these riflemen. And my guess is here comes an incendiary grenade. Yes, there is. It drops a little bit long, but it's going to fall on most of those squads at least. And pineapple goes back the other direction. Does take out a 5-star squad, so that's just a hurtful, hurtful loss. M10 tries to line up on the Jagdpanzer and doesn't get a chance to do so. We actually see I'm sure the Raketenwerfer rotate itself back to the west, as this last vehicle will get picked up pretty quickly. MG in the meantime still holding down the point quite a bit. Rear armor hit takes out most of the health in that M10. And actually one more bazooka shot might be enough to take out this house, and that is just, that's a big blow right there. There goes the hard point that was really keeping things under control, and this might be it. Might be it for tightrope. Thought for half a second he might be able to pull this one back, but I don't think that's going to be the case, folks. He's going to, US is going to grab this point back up into the north. And really all that needs to happen is Janus needs to just kind of stop a cap. But the end goes in fire, and then all is silence. The Jagdpanzer goes down, these mortars start lofting shells to the center of the field, and that looks like GG. We're just about GG.
Just got a report of an infantry unit being wiped out. Gun crew just got wiped out. Taking hits.
Never mind. Egats, is this happening? I didn't think it actually... Wait, what is going... I don't even understand what's going on at this point. I thought that maybe tightrope was going to get capped out, but Janus the Man has almost no infantry on the field. Every single time he moves infantry forward, it gets drubbed. Oh, no, here we go. Okay. So this rifleman get a pick up probably on this last squad of 5-star Volks, who's desperately trying to stop this cap. That's just not going to happen. And the Americans taking the southern VP as well. So yep, guys, this is going to be a cap out for tightrope. Well fought to him. Well fought to Janus the Man for not kind of giving up when he was kind of putting himself behind.
We have a lieutenant reporting in for duty.
But well fought all around. I hope you guys have enjoyed this particular game. Honestly, I could not figure out which way this was going to go. I still kind of wonder if I can really figure it out, because the Americans do have 2 VPs right now. So there's that last ticket. There we go. And that's going to be it. So well fought to both players. It would have been nice to see Janus the Man really press his advantage with using his manpower a little bit more effectively. But you have to also hand it to tightrope too, that he was able to kind of stay in the game. Would have been nice to see a little bit more of his commander choices coming out here. You do see the Volksgrens were able to build a couple of minefields, but that's about it. And the fortifications, nothing really happened from that. No one really cared about that. And Janus the Man, in the meantime, did not really go for the assault engineers, but definitely was making heavy use of these later portions. But well done to both players, and congratulations to Janus the Man. And guys, if you like what you've seen here today, and ladies, forgive me. If you like what you've seen here today, like, comment, and subscribe, and keep an eye out for actually We Happy Few, which is starting, I think, a little later this week, or the beginning of next week when it drops, I think on the 22nd of July. Nevertheless, that's going to be it for me today, and you guys all have a wonderful day. This is Con Ulrich signing off. Take it easy, everybody.